Hello, welcome to Rebel Shaman. Today I would like to go through the Quadrune brain. In my first video, I made mention of Maslow's hierarchy of needs when I spoke about going through the animalistic brains. Maslow's hierarchy of needs are actually the psychological component of what later was expanded upon by scientists, showing the anatomical and physiological regions of the brain they were then found to correspond with. I was heavily influenced in these concepts through the work of nationally renowned pioneer in integrative and functional medicine, Dr. Charles Gant, who returned back to his ancestors in 2023. Rest in peace, sir. In his book, Awaken Your Godly Brain, he explores the relationship between psychological and the anatomical and physiological structures corresponding to the four areas of the brain, which are inextricable from each other in functioning, but that I believe, as he did, most people do not have access to their higher selves, to the godly portion of their brain. Dr. Paul D. MacLean, who Dr. Gant considered one of the greatest neurophysiologists in modern times, was the first to provide research that explained how the four brain regions interact. And for lack of information at that time of the prefrontal cortex, he saw it as a triune brain, composed of three parts. This was later expanded upon by Michael Dowd and Connie Barlow, who also incorporated some pretty adorable names for these different regions. These parts from lowest to highest are the reptilian brain, which they called Leecher, the reptilian swamp creature. You got the paleomammalian or limbic brain, Dude, the mammal of mood. You have the non-prefrontal cortex, the neocortex, labeled Stinker, the tinker, monkey thinker, and you have the prefrontal cortex, labeled Mage, the higher porpoise sage. The reptilian brain controls basic survival functions like fight or flight, and the compulsions to control or to allow to be controlled. These compulsions can lock us into various hierarchical or pecking order relationships, such as bureaucracies, totalitarian states, and even dysfunctional relationships. These regions compel us to act, and they also modulate basic physiological chores such as blood pressure and heart rate. The mammal parts of the brain, the paleomammalian or limbic brain, at its most primitive delves into fear and anger, and at its higher forms of expression, playfulness and tenderness. To many, the emotional brain paved the way for more evolved brains to come later up the evolutionary ladder. Our monkey brain, which was given a kind of derogatory pet name just to underline what happens with its unrestrained activity, which can drive mental illness and lead to the inventions of superweapons that threaten the whole world. It's primitive compared to the higher brain, but it's the one that we put precedence on in our modern society. Many believe that this is what makes us most human, as it is the center of thinking and analyzing. But for most folks, now it just runs amok, and we're caught in mental patterns and thought processes that drive us crazy. The highest brain, labeled Mage, the higher porpoise sage, because it's also found in dolphins and porpoises, confers self-awareness and mindfulness, compassion, empathy, and self-actualization. It is the center of willpower and wisdom. And when actualized, it modulates the survival demands of our three more primitive brains. This part leads us to the highest need achieved within Maslow's hierarchy, that is self-actualization, reaching your full potential after all, and this happens after all lower level needs have been met. Now the devils in this world want you in your feelings, compelled to reptilian acts out of mammalian fears and anger, and with ideologies that keep you overanalyzing and obsessively thinking about these feelings. Unaware, most allow themselves to be controlled without even knowing it. My poor little reptiles. The need of our brain's anatomy and physiology align with the psycho-spiritual perspective of Maslow's hierarchy, which suggests we have an inalienable yearning to understand ourselves, to reach self-actualization. And Dr. Charles Gant's amazing work points out that in the Constitution itself, we have an inalienable right for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, aka the journey towards self-actualization, of reaching our full potential. And we have one brain overall operating with these four parts. They're not really separate, these quadrune brains. They are enmeshed inextricably from each other, and deficiencies keep us more in tune with the lower functions. our lower modus operandi of our incredible brains. It seems humans are the greatest potential shepherds of our here very earth, as when we are in connection with our prefrontal cortex, it can shepherd all the beasts within us, the parts of us that mirror the other life forms on this planet, which I don't believe is a coincidence. I believe it is by design. I believe in divine power all around us and within us made this so. And if we can master ourselves, we can spread goodness all around us and help those still sick and suffering. Or when not possible, when the sick folks, they're just not there yet and they pose a threat, we can steer clear, guard our boundaries, and keep our people safe from the beasts in the shadows. The reptiles that seek to dominate with their tyrannical displays, with their need to control others, or as you see in so many people, reptilian display of submission or surrender, the need to let others control you for a sense of safety, for a sense of security. You know, the concept of trading liberty for safety, trading your freedom for security. Isn't that how we were duped after 9/11? After every major event and crazy headlines, all a major reptilian psyop for the most part. So many engineered events that we are then gaslit about, lied to, each time allowing more of our freedoms to be taken away. Most folks would liken the development of our civilization as something that came from the intellectual part of us. But at the core of it, there's a hierarchy in civilization. And look, it seems to be a natural part of us to build, to expand from tribes to towns to villages, expanding agricultural enterprises, saving grain for rainy days, for famine. But then it transforms from diligent storing of resources with a hierarchy of leadership more attuned to higher values, to hoarding of resources and power to create a hierarchy of dominance and submission. We always cycle in and out of these things. The whole of existence of our reality seems to be a ripple, a wave effect that leads from growth to decay to death and then rebirth. Now we are in an age of reptilian tyranny. Our mammal brain, capable of maternal nurturing and the playful and tender qualities we find endearing in our kids and pets, are hijacked, overcome with fear and anger, especially when the media psyop is feeding you a constant drip of bad news and divisiveness, pointing at the other side as the enemy, making you suspicious and hateful. And then, of course, the monkey brain gives you the gift of the intellect, but it definitely goes awry. And when in a deficient state, in a world where your birthright was stolen from you, and you don't know how to live and eat to feel like a proper human being, then the lower brain's gonna prod on obsessive thinking, anxiety, insomnia, and psychological disorders, the plan of the reptilian overlords. They hijacked Apu too, man. And look, it can do wonders though. Can be the real MacGyver in a sticky situation, your monkey brain. I'm old, kids. If that reference means nothing, just know it means problem solver. The prefrontal cortex, our godly brain, and the associated brain regions that keep us tuned to compassion, moral judgment, wisdom, altruistic social behaviors, reward-seeking behaviors, not just for self, but for others. It's beyond the higher thought of monkey brain when one becomes a mindful observer and a conscious shepherd for the other three brains. It allows us to navigate with greater understanding our reptilian civilization where there is no shortage of controlling, manipulation, fear-mongering, greed, and destructive behaviors, which is why the reptiles want to shut our sage out. The wonderful constitution we have in these good old US of A's, and look, we can get into the Freemason talk and all of that, but the Constitution, it was written very, very well originally. I just don't think everyone involved was ready to just let it be without bastardizing the poor thing, because the reptiles were always there. They're always going to be there. The beasts in the dark are always there, and they could not leave alone life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, the pursuit of our prefrontal cortex and achieving self-actualization. Eventually, the bureaucratic tentacles reached out and over the centuries propped up in every aspect of our lives, seeking ever more control, compliance, regulation, permissions, taxation, gatekeeping, and every other etc. that can easily agitate any one of our inner reptiles or beasts. Most fall in line for safety and security, of course. Well, the false sense of these anyway. It is understandable though, the psyop is real. And while most of us have full-time jobs, just trying to make it in life, the worldly overlords, the devilish oligarchs in their high towers and their lavish palaces work full-time to really give us the shaft, man. The reptiles truly are in charge of this world. I guess David Icke was right. And so long as we vibrate in lower frequencies, kept scared by media lies and fear-mongering, shit, scared straight up from assassinations, hot damn, being a truth seeker and spreading the love sure does make you a target. And that's definitely not something new though. It's been made quite clear in recent times that to stumble upon certain truths can get you taken out. We can't even use the appropriate terminology because for a long time now, censorship is controlling our speech. How many words are we not allowed to say, or else we will not play on as many screens when we want to really reach as many folks as we can with the truth that we have found in our lives? My love goes out there to the truth seekers. You know who you are. You know. So let us not be compelled by fear here. Fear resonates with the sad, broken child within me from long ago. And those scars I wear proudly, and I learned that to even love my enemies and naysayers, for they have helped me fine-tune my mind and give me the motivation to rise above that resonant frequency of the echo chambers of society and the echo chambers created within our own minds. In a world where our leaders and corporate oligarchs are all serving devilish folks from within the shadows, which also resonates with the devils and beasts in your own shadows. Careful. For these shadows within you keep you dancing to the CIA paid for payola music bumping from your speakers, bumping in your head to that music that keeps you in submission to your reptilian inner creature. I know that as above, so below from the Hermetic principles is a true phenomena, like the quantum strings running through all things. When one rises above these influences and learns the wisdom necessary to create balance within ourselves and connect us to our higher selves, then one can navigate even the cruelest of realities around them with a love for all life, good or bad, and a light of truth to banish all the wicked lies, though it may bring the contempt of the ones not ready to see so clearly. For those yet requiring the darkness to stay safe from the pain of the truth, safe from the mobs of men and women who choose decadence and choose tyranny, choose chaos over order, conditioned to keep their minds closed to differing views, choosing dangerous ideologies fed to them by wicked tongues, to which they gladly give their articulations to the strings they dangle on, to dance the dance of their masters. And I once danced these dances, a real danse macabre, a celebration of death, of the goodness of the world. I can no longer, and have not for a long time, hold hate in my heart. And I can no longer be polarized to view those with contrarian views with contempt, because as the Bible says, forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. And how evil can they be? And is it evil more than ignorance? Many times it's good intentions that pave the road to perdition. Many of them believe themselves to be right in this backwards world. I mean, did the ancestors blame the giant wildcats in the jungles that came for their families? It was just their nature. And when you heed the beck and call of the animalistic parts of you, what choice do you have? Especially when society has been designed this way and lies are all they have learned, and deficiencies of mind, body, and spirit that they inherited from the day of their conception, handed down to them by their own parents who did not know, who were not taught. They were not taught their own birthrights. We are all God's children. All will be remembered, no matter what some say or believe. And some of us know, we know with our full hearts. And for the unfortunate who have crossed over to your ancestors in ignorance and confusion, they will yet have the gift of knowing too. For if our brains have reptiles and this world has reptilian overlords, so must also our godly brain reflect onto something greater, above, filled with love, compassion, and forgiveness, a true unity of all things. God bless you all. God bless the work of Dr. Charles Gant, wherever your spirit may be, an inspiration you've been with this incredible book and the incredible work you committed yourself throughout your life. And in my prayers, I keep all those unafraid to hold the torch of truth into the shadows, to bring light into this world, no matter how perilous the journey may be. Your ancestors are with you. God is with you.